In this video, I will talk about the for loop in cell programming. The for loop here iterates through a set of values. We put here a name of a variable, that in, then the set of value I want to iterate, do some instructions, and done. Okay, here I can have some instructions. Then when the program arrives to the for, then it will assign the first value to the variable, will run the instructions, then it will return to the for, assign the second value to the variable, run the block, the third variable, the for, and so on and so forth. So variable could be whatever name we put here, and we can access the variable as we usually do with variables. So for example, the value is variable. For example, if I run this script, okay, the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we can see that the script has iterated through the values. There are some things that you must take in account here. Is that you can put you can put here whatever you want. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do that, then okay, remember that the values are separated by a space, and this is considered as 4 different items in the for list, and the loop will iterate 4 times. But what happens if I do that? This will run once, and then I iterate through this data. Okay, if I do that, okay, you can see that we are running 4 times. The loop is running 4 times. Why? Because remember that when I do that, this is replaced by the content of the variable. So the cell is really seeing this. This is what the cell sees before running the for loop. And we have seen that this will run 4 times because the cell will consider this for different variables. So if I want to run this only once with the full value of the variable, then I must use quotes here. Here I can use quotes, and then this will run once, because in this case this will be replaced. This will be what the cell sees, and remember that if you have quotes, the cell will consider everything inside the quotes as a single value. Okay, this is one of the things that you must take in account when working with for loops. And the other thing is that you can use glob variables here, glob patterns here. So for example, I have those files here. I can do, for example, let me remove this variable, for variable in file asterisk.txt. If I do that, then okay, it will remember that this will be replaced by all the file names that matches the pattern, and it will be run. The cell will be see something like that. Okay, the glob pattern is replaced, so it's 01.txt, 02.txt, and all the files. This is what the cell sees, and then it will run the loop, the for loop, once for each of the files. But I can also add extra values here. So for example, remember this, I'm going to restrict this a little bit. For example, for this will match only these 2 files. Okay, let's check it just in case. I can add extra values here. So for example, first value and last value. Remember that this is replaced by those file names. So what the cell will see will be this file 1, file 11 and file 12 globe patterns only replace the pattern by the value, the files that matches the pattern. This is what the cell sees, and this is what will happen. It will take this as an item, and this as an item too. Okay, and remember that the pattern, if you don't, if no files match the pattern. So for example, I can put here no match asterisk.txt, then this will be won't be replaced by anything. So this the iteration will be, let me remove this. The iteration will be first, no match asterisk.txt, and last. Okay, because no files matches this pattern, so the globe is used as you wrote it. Okay, and you can also use multiple patterns here. So for example, I can use file 1.txt and file 2.txt. So this globe pattern will be replaced by the files that match this pattern, and this will be replaced by the files that match this pattern. So okay, this is the first globe pattern, this is the second, and then the for loop is runs for the three files. So remember the for loop, you put a variable here, you put a list of items here, do in a different line, done, because remember that you can use here semicolon for just putting do here in the same file, but remember the do is in the next line, a block of sentences, and this will run once by each of the items you have here in the set.